he was there very much in spirit. There was a video message from him, and there have also been banners put up all over Jerusalem saying Donald Trump has made Israel great again. So clearly he's seen as something of a hero by a considerable section of Israeli public. And I'm just wondering if that's a majority opinion, and what are we hearing to the contrary, Iris?
Well, it's interesting because this move is generally speaking popular because Israelis say West Jerusalem, at any rate, it has always been their capital, and so it's an overdue move. Why wasn't the American embassy in our capital? Even if it's not all of Jerusalem that's our capital, we were always going to retain West Jerusalem as our capital, say Israelis. So they regard this move as popular, generally speaking. I don't know that Donald Trump is popular throughout the Israeli voting public. He's definitely popular with the people who vote for Benjamin Netanyahu, so the right-wing Prime Minister with a very good relationship, a bromance almost with Donald Trump. And so his supporters also, I think, would support Donald Trump. I'm not sure that all other voters, there are other voters in Israel. I'm not sure all other voters would support Donald Trump on this policy or on others. While the embassy move is popular, I don't think most people wouldn't support it. Nevertheless, there is a sizable, 20% of Israel's population are Arabs, and they don't all support Donald Trump. In fact, we saw some lawmakers standing at a protest outside the embassy, or as close as they could get to the embassy, to protest what was happening there today. So just that very small example of people within the parliament who don't support Donald Trump. One of the leaders of a left-wing party in Israel was invited to this embassy opening, and she didn't come because she doesn't necessarily support it. So you can see there is it is a vibrant democracy here for those who can vote in these elections in Israel, and they have a range of views, and not all of them agree with Donald Trump.
Again, Iris, there are 86 countries, I believe, with diplomatic missions inside Israel. I think 33 of the 86 countries that were invited to attend today's ceremony turned up. And I'm just wondering whether that's considered a good turnout or not for that ceremony.
I think they were invited for last night's gala dinner, and I think, relatively speaking, that is a good turnout because, we do see that within Europe, for example, there are 3 countries who are considering, as you discussed with your Europe editor, who are considering moving their embassies to Jerusalem too. So we're seeing a split inside Europe. So if the Czech Republic, Romania and Hungary are taking one move, in fact, it's an old East-West split, the rest of Europe isn't as supportive. So not all of the Europeans who would be invited would come. When we saw today at the embassy, there was only a very small amount of Europeans invited. That was the American government decision. Today's was an American event, and they decided who to invite, and it was largely Americans and Israelis, in fact, including people who go back a long way within the American administration, but they weren't looking much more widely than that. I think that tells you a lot too. They weren't looking much more widely. It was an internal American-Israeli deal, a gift, if you like, from the American people to the Israeli people on this date, on the 70th anniversary of the creation of the State of Israel, and also a gift from these 2 leaders, from Donald Trump definitely to Benjamin Netanyahu.
Iris, it's Catherine Nicholson here, Europe editor. I'm just interested in the European angle. Of course, as we were discussing, Europe and Israel have that very strong trade relationship that we were talking about. And Israel, the EU is very present in Israel and in the Palestinian territories. However, the United States has traditionally been leading peace process efforts. How relevant is the European Union seen as being by ordinary Israelis and Palestinians? Is Europe, the European Union, something that Israelis bring up when you're talking about the peace process?
It is relevant. It's relevant economically, especially relevant in the Palestinian territories where it pours so much money into the area. I mean, and it's a huge... So that economic factor is relevant at all times, I think, and it's definitely... The words Europe come up a lot, but they don't come up a lot when I speak to Israelis about the peace process. There's a feeling that Europeans and the EU especially is biased against Israel. There's a strong feeling amongst many Israelis. And it also hasn't taken a hands-on position within the peace process negotiations. That has been Washington for many historic reasons. And as a result of that, I don't think Israelis look to Europe for its political stand, although they are very aware of Europe as a trade partner.
Thanks, Iris. Thank you.